We'll be finding a new game. Looks like Chef Alama is in Chairman Select, so we'll be very secretive about this. Chef Alama is a good friend of mine, Nathan. So I'll just kind of ghost spectate his game and cast from there. Uh, might be that we have to wait a little while, but we can always talk a little bit, go over these runes a little bit, kind of from the last game, see the pros and cons as to the different variances in the builds that they decided to go. So Lulu in support actually went attack damage, a lot of armor, and magic resist per level. I think that's pretty fair, very utility centered masteries. Cooldown reduction, pretty interesting. A lot of times you might want to pick up hardiness, but I suppose she wants the extra CDR. Flat armor is very important in the early bot lane because you'll be tanking a lot of the minion auto damage as well as the enemy AD carry and whatever the enemy support is. And since on the flip side the support was supposed to be Pantheon, although I don't remember if he ever connected in that game. So with Pantheon, the 22 armor makes a lot of sense. She's really worried about dying really early. And with a Vayne lane, just playing safe is really what you want to do. Jinx, while that's also hyperscaling AD carry, it's much easier for Jinx to pull out a lead in the laning phase because, well, I don't want to say easier, but it's much more risk averse to get ahead over Vayne because you can use your Fishbones rocket grenade with switcheroo to get a lot of auto harass damage onto the champion. Alright, good. Looks like Chef Alama's in game. We can secretly jump in on that. And here we go. Looks like he is playing Olaf. We do have 2.5 minutes to go over the team compositions for this. Summoner 1. Rek'Sai, then Thresh, Callista. I actually really like Thresh Callista lanes, personally. Olaf, followed by Ezreal. And Ezreal's actually running the heal mid. It looks like Ezreal is mid lane. Obviously, you want Callista in the bottom lane with with the support to proc her W. And then on the other side, there's Lucian Thresh. So this is a normal game, not a ranked game, but you know, we can still get some pretty fun games going on with that. And then Shyvana Jungle, very popular flavor of the month actually, but for a reason. She is quite strong if you do manage to get 30 stacks of Devour on that, followed by Rumble and Katarina. So first thing that screams out to me with these compositions is that Purple Team has a really strong team fight, especially around the mid game, which kind of doesn't synchronize the best with Shyvana. You have the Rumble and Katarina, which are going to be wanting to fight a lot in groups, just because you have the Equalizer, which is always one of the best ultimates in the game for team fighting, and that comes online fairly quickly for Rumble, so you can really use that to your advantage to teleport and set up dragon plays, although Shyvana more wants to farm in the jungle. If they do manage to get control around the dragon area, getting the 5 stacks on your Devour is super helpful, but it's more difficult for Shyvana to get that control as opposed to something like a Rek'Sai. And there is a lot of disengage on this composition because you have Olaf's Undertow as well as Ezreal can Arcane Shift out of there, Callista can Fate's Call, Thresh has Lantern and Flay. So we'll see if Blue Team really wants to just kite back until Purple Team tries to blow some of their ultimates like the Death Lotus on Katarina, Equalizer on Rumble, or if Shyvana even burns her ultimate to try to catch up. And then they might be able to re-engage using the Callista and Olaf ultimates, Ragnarok. And looks like we will be going into the game now. Delay is 0 seconds. Oh boy. Sorry about the weird delay earlier where we went into the wrong game. And it says League of Legends is not responding, which is an error I've seen once or twice while I've been streaming. Hopefully that's not a big issue because the game is now loaded up. And if we look at skin intimidation, oh my god, we freaking did it, friends. We have a 5-man skin team composition. That's just super exciting for me. And I hope it's really exciting for you guys. Eternal Rek'Sai, Deep Terror Thresh, Blood Moon Callista, Broloff, and Pulsefire Ezreal. Just like Ezreal, I am so DTF with this kind of skin composition. On the other side, you do have Hired Gun Lucian and Super Galaxy Rumble with Bilgewater Katarina. Very thematic with the current lore events. Bilgewater, I really liked the Bilgewater event. It was pretty fun to read through. Got some really nice artwork. Actually, I can throw up what my monitor looks like. And I don't know if you even saw that. But anyways, my background is the Bilgewater artwork. So I've really enjoyed the Bilgewater event for that reason. Giving me a nice new desktop background that I can put on both my screens. If you're looking for a background from the art of Bilgewater, I don't really remember where I got it. I just kind of Googled Bilgewater art, but you can look that up if you want. Alright, we are into game. Thresh v Thresh mirror matchup. Mirror matchups are something that I actually really hate playing as, but luckily I'm not playing in this game at all. It will be Lucian versus Ezreal in that lane. Lucian very well known these days to be fairly weak. Oh, sorry, I actually put Callista in the mid lane. I'll fix that right up. But yeah, so Ezreal can poke Lucian in a much safer manner. Much more safely, I guess is the proper way to say that. But Ezreal doesn't bring, or sorry, thinking about Ezreal versus Lucian. Anyways, Callista Thresh, there we go, is actually a lane that I really enjoy, and I mentioned this in Champion Select a little bit, because Thresh does have that semi-ranged auto attack harass, and I don't know, whenever I play Thresh, he is my most played champion in the support role. I play very well with Callistas, but if you manage to land death sentences and hook your target in, Callista's W does provide that huge burst. And you don't even have to go all in. You just need to get one auto, get a Flay auto on Thresh, and you can just do an insane burst with pretty much one attack from each of you. So I think they synergize fairly well in that regard. When you compare it with someone like Lucian, who, well, Lucian just he's kind of like a worse Graves in that you have a decent amount of burst in lane, but you're a little more squishy, and you're very much shorter range. So it's much more dangerous to do anything like that. Rip Lucian, Ezreal is down to fuck. That he is. He actually starts the Doran's Ring, so going full AP Ezreal. We saw it fall off a little bit after I believe they patched his Mystic Shot to not be able to apply the Luden's effect. You can only proc off of magic damage, I believe. So we'll see how that works out with full AP Ezreal. It still does a ton of damage, but you rely a little bit more on that essence flux of his W to be able to provide that, instead of being able to poke and wave clear with the Runeglaive Mystic Shot, like you saw a lot when it was very popular in SoloQ and competitive both. And you can see Rumble has charged up his heat up here, so we'll see if he can get some decent harass on Olaf. But Olaf very aggressive with his Undertow. He actually needs to be throwing his axes a little closer, because he'd be getting a lot more damage out if he were able to consistently throw them while auto-harassing Rumble. And he does actually take a little bit of control in that lane up there. We'll see if it really leads to anything or not. And in the bottom lane, looks like they are racing for that level 2 power spike. Lucian and the Lucian Thresh will be slightly stronger, just because Lucian's abilities allow him to provide a little more burst at level 2. If Callista really needs to auto a lot to get her rend to be really useful, but Lucian can kind of poke in a little bit. And again, I was kind of thinking Ezreal was in the bottom lane for a second. I don't know why that keeps happening, but anyways, looks like Rek'Sai actually ganks mid. Doesn't really get anything to happen. but Katarina will be backing up there, and they do both hit level 2 in the bottom lane actually. No real aggressive plays coming out from either of them. Sun ED tries to go a little bit aggressive, but biology was very far back, and that's something you really want to remember when you're playing solo queue games, is that it's very crucial in the bottom lane to stay fairly even with your lane partner in terms of actually where you're standing. You can see right here, the Thresh on blue side was so far up that even if he gets an auto harass, Kalista has to walk 3 or 4 steps up if she even wants to contribute to that. So you can see Lucian and Thresh here are standing very parallel, and that would allow them to respond in a much more synchronized manner. And Kalista will be just farming up a little bit. She does have an easier time against tanks than Lucian does, just because of her martial poise allowing her to constantly jump backward. Whereas Lucian is kind of reliant on his dash relentless pursuit cooldown. And Chef Alama getting fairly low in the top lane. You can see he's actually already up 15 CS. And this is only at level 4. That's actually really impressive. He actually pops goes. He's going all the way in. Gets a thundering blow and Rumble backs off. Ooh, really close there. I think if Rumble had actually stayed in and not chickened out at the last second, he might have been able to finish off Olaf before he got damaged, but it's very hard to say. Either way, they take the safe approach out, and Rumble's actually gonna be TPing back first there, because Olaf does have his lifesteal from his vicious strikes. Well, no, actually, he is staying. I lied. Olaf decides to go back first after shoving the wave toward that turret. I think he's fairly conscious of the fact that he has not seen Shyvana yet on the map, so going to be able to get a second Doran's Blade and a longsword, so really wants to shove this advantage into his lane. And if Olaf gets ahead of Rumble, that's going to be very difficult for Rumble, because the only thing Rumble really has in terms of escaping a very aggressive lane are his Electro Harpoons and the Equalizer when he hits level 6. But if you're Olaf and you're already damaging Rumble so much, that won't stop you, because you can just go unstoppable. And actually, Lucian does land a hook onto the other lane, and if Lucian gets exhausted, sorry, Thresh lands a hook onto the other Thresh, but now Lucian is getting really low. He's actually just wandering around a lot, and then gets hooked in return. That leads to the first blood for Kalista. Good turnaround by the blue team, and importantly, Thresh exhausted Lucian. I say Thresh, but Sunny D exhausted Lucian right when he got hooked, so he did not take that much damage. Actually, he initiates with the flay again, and here comes Kalista. She was pretty close by for that kill. She picks one up. It's 2-0 already, and meanwhile, Katarina actually collapses with the rest of the other people on her team in the top side of the map to bring down Chef Alama on Olaf. He is still up 20 CS to Rumble, so you can see he's actually still ahead 200 gold, which is fairly significant at 7 minutes into the game, but contrast that with the 700 gold lead in the bot lane for Kalista. And that was a nice roam by the red squad up there, but Kalista is still ahead, and you can see her really pushing that advantage. She hasn't even gone back yet, and Lucian has his pickaxe already, but no fear, because Thresh was still not there yet, so they can just auto the turret for free, back up, and then continue CSing until she can get enough money to buy a component of her Hurricane or Blade of the Ruin King, which are probably the two most common items. Sometimes Bloodthirster if you really want to, but Chef Alama is actually going really aggressive onto ASVP on Rumble. The Electro Harpoon is actually slowing a lot there. I wonder if he's maxing it. No, he was maxing the Flame Spitter, but just the slow is being really effective there. And like I was saying, once Olaf hits 6, it'll be very difficult for Rumble to skip the situation. But actually, Latios slays Neon Tiger. That's not a sentence I think I've ever said before. They just pick him up when he was out of position. Now they both hit level 6. Rumble's trying to initiate onto Olaf, but he kind of goes, he shouts Bromacia and takes him down. He's going to be continuing that, further extending that lead in the top lane. Now he's up 1 kill in addition to the 20 CS. That Doran's Blade really proving to be useful there, because you saw Rumble tried to retaliate and burst him down, but the percent lifesteal as well as the extra max health there, pretty significant factors in allowing him to make that play. And that is one thing you really need to be careful about if lane opponents decide to go for these kind of expensive all-in types of items, that being the Dorn's Blades, or sometimes used to see early flasks. And actually Kalista gonna miss all this CS. Oh man, little trick for Sunny D. If you are playing with a Kalista AD carry, you can proc the passive Kalista auto attack damage if you auto it yourself. So basically, to further clarify that, what I meant by that is that Kalista applies this little red trigger on any enemy that she autos, and if Thresh were to auto that as well and it gets the killing blow, it actually gives Kalista the money. So if you're a support, you can actually help CS for your AD carry. Looks like Shyvana and Rek'Sai will both be pretty passive going forward in this game. Rek'Sai, obviously that's a little better for Shyvana because she did get that Devour, so if she's able to stack that up with really no consequence of Rek'Sai getting better pressure on the lanes, they'll just scale better later into the game. And actually she's going toward that bottom lane, passes over the dragon. I thought maybe she might want to try to do that, but with Katarina there, they might be looking to set up a play. Looks like they blue team actually does have a ward in there. And Lulu's lover going back to the mid lane, debating whether or not to do the dragon. Blue team actually has no vision of this, so Neon Tiger are going to be trying to counter jungle a little bit, but surprise, there's nothing up there. Shyvana's already cleared everything. And I think that was fairly smart of Shyvana to clear her entire top side of the jungle and then rotate to the dragon, because now you can see Rek'Sai just wastes his time entirely unless they can get a kill onto Rumble, but it doesn't look like that really is going to happen there. So DTF seeing ooh, actually Max Range hooks lands onto Kalista. Kalista's very squishy, so this might prove to be fatal. Lucian uses Relentless Pursuit to try to catch up, but goes right into the edge of the box, preventing him from getting any last hits before Kalista heals up. So good initiation. That puts him a little bit ahead in terms of summoner spells. If Shyvana or Katarina want to come gank that, Kalista will not have. And GBM tells me lol ew, wrong chat, so that's always good to know. But yeah, so Kalista does not have that heal. That does allow Lucian to get a 15 CS lead because she has to abandon that lane. She is still ahead by 400 gold, but that's pretty much half of what it was a little while ago, so pretty impressive play by this red team bot lane. Getting back into that game, and you can see that the jungle is actually really even right now in terms of CS. If you look at their golds, Shyvana is a little bit ahead because she does have a kill and an assist. But Rek'Sai just trying to do what she can to catch up there. And I do want to see more ganks from Rek'Sai because you have this Olaf in the top lane. And Rek'Sai looked like she thought about maybe doing something there, but didn't really even have the courage to go for a dive there. Now Neon Tiger's in the bottom lane, just shows up and leaves. No real patience from Rek'Sai, allowing her laners to set up a proper gank. Now she'll be trying to counter jungle again, but Shyvana again is one step ahead. So a lot of wasted time, even though Rek'Sai is slightly up in CS. But that doesn't mean Shyvana will be able to get to that stack Devour that much faster, and she's already at 14 on her Devouring Spirit. Olaf's actually taking a lot of damage here. I think he knows that something's going on. He might have to pop Ragnarok to just get out of here. Yeah, he does, but he turns back around. That might mean that he takes enough damage. Yes, I think if he had just kept running, that it might have forced Shyvana to either take lethal turret damage or have dissuaded them from diving the turret. But that's not what happens. Shyvana goes for a very aggressive gank. You can see, as we've seen Rek'Sai be very shy about ganks, but Shyvana wants something, bam, goes in and gets it. And that is the result. Now Olaf is still 40 CS up, but actually Rek'Sai going in. There's the boldness that we wanted earlier, but it's not really at the right place or the right time. Rumble's even teleporting in there just in case. Rek'Sai really needs to be aware of where the other laners are, because that gank was very deep into Katarina's, or very close to Katarina's lane, and Sorry, Rek'Sai was spotted way over here, so it gave Katarina ample time to roam over. In addition to the fact that Rek'Sai should have known that they were just ganking top lane, so you really need to watch out for that Rumble teleport. But now Katarina's looking toward that bottom lane, getting some of that juicy kill. But it looks like she'll back off a little bit. She gets spotted out. Hook does land. I don't know if they want to go on this. Ezreal's coming. And actually, here's Rek'Sai also. The hook misses from the enemy thresh. Shoot boy trying to run away now. Huge true shot barrage damage coming out. Neon Tiger is so low. Are they going to be able to follow through on this? A flay comes out. Where's the death sentence? Should be up fairly soon. There it is. Nope. Doesn't quite land. Slay get him all low. But Ezreal is just barely too far away to actually follow through. And that means red team gets away scot-free. Now Shyvana saying, now, hey guys, I'm here. Is there something for me to do? Sorry girl, but not quite. Blue team did actually use that pressure to be able to keep this vision secured. They threw down these boards actually a little while ago, but important that the red team has not cleared them yet. And actually Hook almost landing, but not quite. And Olaf is trying to roam down to help out a little bit, but Dragon's not up for another 90 seconds, so there's nothing really for him to do, and he'll roam back on up to that top lane, see if he can keep pressuring Rumble. And I think that's what he really wants to do, especially with Dragon coming up soon. He will not have teleport when Dragon spawns. I believe it comes up right after that, 150-second cooldown. And actually, he goes all in here with his Ragnarok, the Undertow being perfectly positioned to just barely clip Rumble so he can follow up and repeatedly throw that. So well played by that, although he did not. Well played by Chef Alama, although he did not quite have enough to finish it. This attracts the attention of Katarina, and he does have that important Triforce ward. Once he sees her, that means that blue team can make a play on the bottom of the map. But it looks like Rek'Sai is actually going back. Rek'Sai has her ultimate, so she could jump over. This is the perfect opportunity to make a gank on the bot lane if you know where Katarina is, but it looks like they'll just kind of be farming up. Ezreal staying mid, not even shoving that, really. And they actually even lose vision control of that tri-bush, so I guess nothing really gained out of that, but nothing lost either in terms of either team, so very safe play coming out from both of these teams, except for maybe Olaf and Shyvana. And you can see Kalista did rush that Runon's Hurricane, which will allow her to shove the wave in a much quicker fashion than she normally could. But it means that her dueling ability is not really that great, because a lot of the value you get from Runon's is targeting multiple people with each of your autos. Actually, it looks like Katarina's roaming down with Shyvana. Shyvana's not coming yet. They need to get over here ASAP because that bush is warded. Actually, Thresh is going in. If Katarina were to engage right now, and no, that few seconds Shyvana waited. No, just do it! Go in! Oh my gosh. Why is Thresh so far up? This is a free kill if they decide to go for it. Oh man. So many missed opportunities. And by so many, I mean one, but it's just heartbreaking. But yeah, anyways, a lot of that gold value from the Runon's Hurricane comes from the ability to hit multiple people with your auto attacks. So something like the Blade of the Rune King, which actually Rumble just DC'd, so Olaf going to be getting a free kill there. But yeah, if you were to rush, say, Blade of the Rune King, then you'd be much better at 1v1s as opposed to the Runon's Hurricane. That doesn't even count for the fact that Blade of the Rune King, for instance, has the active, which gives you % of their max health. Olaf going to be getting that turret with the Rumble DC, unfortunately. And red team just spending so much time down here doing nothing. Shyvana's going to be going in onto 780. The flay comes out, and she's going to back away. Death Sentence lands onto Ezreal. He's going to try to Arcane Shift out of there, but actually lands into the walls of the box. And this is where the Runon's Hurricane really comes into play. She's able to auto a lot of them, actually getting all three of them. But here comes Katarina, jumps in with her Death Lotus. Does she get one reset? Yes! And then King Milanese trying to run for his life, and here comes Rumble. The Equalizer's not really in range. Actually, Thresh turns around. If he throws on the Equalizer, they might be able to catch up. No, it looks like they might just want to use this pressure to get Dragon, but they're staying around for a while. I don't know about that Equalizer. Probably should have used it either sooner or held on to it for the map control pressure. But either way, Olaf's going to be trying to get in on this. He already got 1 kill from the DC. Can he get more? Oh my god. Oh, death sentence lands from Thresh, and he gets 2 kills onto Olaf, so very well played. That the reckless swing doing so much damage. You can see that he actually maxed that first, which is what a lot of times what you want to max on Olaf in a melee lane. And Thresh gets hooked after he flashes, but the other Thresh does not follow through on the death sentence because they already get a free kill onto Olaf. So that does give Katarina yet another, or sorry, I think that kill did actually go over to Thresh, but Katarina is now 3-1-3. Keep an eye on her. She does already have her Ludens and the needlessly large rod, so Ezreal, this passive game does not lend itself very well to a Magi Soul Stealer style game where you want a lot of fights, and you can see that Ezreal's still sitting at 5 stacks, I believe. Yeah, it's a little difficult to tell on this little item thing, but he's still only at 5 stacks, and that means that Katarina is actually 600 gold ahead. And now they're going to get the first dragon. Kalista kind of walking by, not really aware of what's going on, being a little afraid because now that the announcements are global, she can see that a lot of people were over there. And look at that bouncing blade damage from Katarina. Just does about 20% of Ezreal's maximum health with that first Q and the Ludens proc. So, looking pretty nice for Katarina. And I'm not sure if she'll be able to really keep getting solo kills on Ezreal. I say keep getting kills, but I'm not really sure if she'll be able to consistently get any solo kills onto Ezreal, because if she actually goes in with her Shumpo, he can just arcane shift pretty much a safety. And you can see actually Rumble doing a lot of pushing. He's down so far behind in terms of CS, but he's been trying to push out these waves. He's gotten a lot of damage on the top turret and a lot of damage on the mid turret, but hasn't actually finished anything up, so no tangible rewards for all of his efforts, especially with the fact that Olaf is over 100 CS ahead of him. 3,000 gold lead on Olaf. He's already on his second item, or he's already finished his second smaller item. Goes for the Hex Drinker after Black Cleaver. This is the build where you say, I want to solo and I want to just roll through my enemies. A lot of times you want to get that Runan, or that Randuin's Omen on Olaf so that you can tank the entire team fight, but this is what he lives for. Just sees Latios by himself. He has complete control of this top side of the map, and he steals the red buff, pops the ghost to get away. His Ragnarok is on cooldown. I don't know if Katarina can actually get here in time. Lulu's Lover trying to catch up. The Electro Harpoon Flash misses, and that means he can get out of there safely. And ASVP will have to just meander on back over to his lane, pick up that consolation prize of that few CS. Looks like he will actually be picking these up. Well, so decent CS in there. A lot of times it's difficult to CS on Rumble because he is just the nature of his flame speeder makes it difficult to get consistent last hits. But the Super Galaxy Rumble skin does help out with that. And Sunny D going to be trying to get some more vision control. The Dragon's not up for a little while, but if they want to keep sieging this mid turret with this long range Ezreal, getting some of those vision wards out is going to be very important, and clearing out any wards to allow for possible ganks you might want to do. And now Olaf's back. He has the Ragnarok. Rumble's way too close because he still has the red buff. Oh my gosh, that was just brutal to watch. Reckless swing. And the oh my, and just everything about that was, it just made me feel sad to ever play Rumble. And that's what I was saying right at the beginning of the game. If Rumble falls behind, it's very difficult to stay in that lane safely. And actually, Ezreal could be popping everything. Is he going to survive? No, the last Ignite ticks, but Lulu's Lover is now the target of Olaf's rage. And Rek'Sai diving that turret, tries to back out with the Thresh Lantern, but now Chef Alamal wants more. He gets one kill despite everything. He almost picks up another on Lulu's Lover. Tanks about 5 turret shots, and now he actually might go down to King Milanese. Yes, he does. Piercing Light finishes off a good equalizer. Gets onto 2 of these blue team members, but the heal comes out and saves Neon Tiger just a little bit. Also, good positioning of the box by blue team's Thresh, allowing them to escape that fairly well. And Ezreal, his Magi Soul Stealer not looking very well. It's only at 3 stacks, which is only not very much ability power. That's only 8 per stack. So 20 plus 24 is not a lot. 44 ability power for that price. And actually, a 2-shot barrage comes out at a very strange angle. I guess he wanted to get that CS in the mid lane. Could have damaged the rest of the CS in the lane too, but guess he's just a little lazy about it, and that's a-okay for this current situation. He's actually going back right now. I wonder if he has enough gold to buy something. He only has 300. I'm not sure what he wants to upgrade. Did he just pick up that Giant's Belt? That'd be a little strange of a pickup. Is he gonna go sorry, not Leandry's, Rylai's Crystal Scepter? That's really the only ability power item that builds out of Giant Spell, unless he wants to do a weird hybrid Frozen Mallet build. I'm not even sure Frozen Mallet builds out of Giant Spell anymore. I believe it does, but actually Nia double death sentence landing, and the flame misses from Sunny D, which means Siobhan is still in range. She uses her burnout to close the distance, but Fate's Call will be able to keep him safe. And Thresh actually might have wanted to go back to knock Latios in the air, although it looks like they might get out there safely anyways. Poor Rumble. Hopefully one day he'll learn that he cannot leave the safety of his turret. And even then, Olaf can easily dive that, so he actually builds another Spectre's Cowl, which I don't even know if that's needed because... Oh, Katarina actually jumps in and gets flayed before her Death Lotus, which means that she can pick up a double kill. Lucian picks up the third one. That's a 3 for 0, and now suddenly they're sieging the bottom inhibitor. This looked really bad for Red Team for a while there, but just a sudden explosion of Katarina's ability power there, allowing her to get complete control of this bottom lane. Luckily, the mid laner for blue team is an AP Ezreal, which means he can poke all day, and they actually use that to trade 1-for-1. So sending 4 people down bottom trades for that one-on-one resource that Olaf was able to get for his team. So you can just see the amount of value that Olaf is bringing to this game right now, keeping them in it pretty much completely. You can see he actually has about 10,000 gold, which is almost a third of his entire team's money. So if he's not actually in the next team fight, I think that might be pretty bad for the blue team, because you can keep split pushing, but it becomes so hard to crack the inhibitor turret because of the way that does. The inhibitor turrets themselves do more damage. So I think they removed the slowing and the damage reduction, but still much more difficult to siege, just also because of the nature of how close they are to the fountain. And Thresh actually lands Death Sentence in the box. They're so slowed right now, and actually they get chunked a lot by the True Shot Barrage, and return Death Sentence does not land. Lucian getting way too close. He's gonna have to jump away, but I don't know why he's going back in. He misses the flay onto the Lucian. Here comes Katarina with the Death Lotus. Blood, the exhaust is gonna be stopping a lot of that damage. And now it looks like both teams are going to be backing out fairly safely. Rek'Sai going to be trying to poke in a little bit. I think King Milanese just needs to get out of there. Otherwise, he might die to an Arcane Shift followed by the Mystic Shot or Essence Flux by Ezreal. Yeah, he's going to back off now. Dragon's not even up. Or not even close to being up. So, I'm not even sure why they want to be around there. I think it's just team fighting for the sake of team fighting. Typical solo queue. Oh, solo queue, never change. But in the meantime, Olaf hit 202 CS, and that's actually beaten by the red team's Lucian. So fantastic job CSing by Lucian. 27 minutes, 215 CS is not bad at all for just a random normal game. Especially because Olaf's so far ahead, and actually a good equalizer finishes off Neon Tiger. Unfortunately, he doesn't have the Zanya's Hourglass to stay in there. But Shyvana's here. Is her Devour completed? It doesn't matter because Lulu's lover is going in. She wants the love. Where is Lulu? I don't know, but Katarina's getting kills. And shoot, boy, looking at Chef Alama here, I don't think his Ragnarok is up. No, it's not. That means King Milanese might be able to get on him. Piercing Light followed by his Light Slinger passive finishes him off. And now Latios is here. DTF kills off Rumble, but was it worth? Not sure. Latios picks up the ace. Gonna be able to do a lot of damage to this mid lane turret. And Rexha is gonna be walking up. I think she'll be able to get there before the turret falls down because this minion wave is a little bit at an odd interval. But actually, if Shoeboy tanks this turret, Latios could probably finish him off. Yes! There's the killing spree. Wow! Here's Callista trying to attack there. If she was able to dodge the death sentence, she could probably 1v2 them just because Latios is so low and she has that crucial Runon's Hurricane. Death sentence is going out for everywhere, but looks like no deaths are actually going to be coming through. So, pretty aggressive play there by Shyvana. Looks no one really died for it though. And actually, Chef Alama goes in. He wants Shoeboy. I'm not sure if this is really the best use of your teleport, but he gets one. If you can pick up another kill or transition that into a different map objective, I think that would definitely be worth. You know, if they just group mid lane, I think they could take this turret easy peasy. Actually, speaking of taking mid turret, Olaf could just walk up and smack it twice. He's that far ahead, and he has picked up that Warden's Mail, giving him a little more armor. But here's Katarina, so it'll be a little trickier now. Gonna be trying to throw out an Undertow to poke, but Katarina Bouncing Blade is a little bit stronger poke, so with Ezreal coming through, that auto attack will finish off the turret. They're going to be moving on to the inner, but with Ragnarok down, it's going to be pretty much up to Sunny D to land a hook to initiate this fight. And Rumble finally gets the top lane. Death Sentence lands onto Lucian. I don't know if he wants to go in on this. Thresh instantly falls, and there goes Katarina. She does too. Chef Alamut trying to get out of there, but double kill, 2 for 1. In that, and actually the Lucian lived there, so nice job by him. I'm so DTF is not DTF, but he's getting fucked anyways. And just a little over aggressive by the entire blue team. They could have easily set up a split pushing situation with the Olaf and just keep the rest of the red team back with the AP Ezreal and Callista. You have so much wave clear. And although both of the Thresh's hooks have been fairly on point, I think eventually Olaf could be able to get some pressure if he went, for instance, to the bottom lane. And actually, Neon Tiger gets hooked! Is that going to be his demise? Looks like Rumble's not quite in range to keep doing that, but look at how much damage the Devour Shyvana is doing! Half Dragon indeed, just chomping up that champion. And here's Olaf. He doesn't do actually that much damage because he has mostly magic resist items, but once he gets more stacks of that Black Cleaver, he might be able to finish him off. He's going to back off. He is 10-6 though, but very important. Blue team loses their inhibitor as punishment for their overextension. And I'll tell Nathan afterwards. Oh my god! The Shumpo into Death Lotus. Gonna be almost one-shotting Rek'Sai, and Dragon's up in 35 seconds. Which is a while from now, but if they were to ward up and go back, they'd probably be able to get back just in time for it to spawn. Thresh knows what he's doing, but the rest of Red Team might feel a little comfortable enough to just stick around. And unfortunately, Rumble going to be DCing again, but no worries, he has hit 100 CS at the 31:50 minute mark. Always a very important milestone. And I say that with a tinge of sarcasm, because you usually want to aim for about 12 or 13 minutes with that. But he's back, he's reconnected now. All you really need is the Equalizer, and he has the Liandry, Zanya's, and Sorcerer's Shoes, so he actually doesn't need any other items for the rest of the game. Although the Void Staff might help, or Liandry's, or sorry, he already has the Liandry's. The Rylai's can also be pretty useful. Although, with the recent patch where they do not allow the staggering of slows anymore, Rylai's on the Equalizer sadly does not apply. So it makes it a little weaker. Chef Alamai getting a little close, saying, "Hey Thresh, how's it going, buddy?" And Thresh gonna be walking out of there. Chain Warden apparently does not contain and imprison Vikings. Latios clearing up, spearheading this charge and clearing up those Rek'Sai tunnels. And looks like blue team just has to go back and deal with their base. They do ping that they want to get this bottom lane pushing, but they don't really have the lane there yet. They do have the wave slow pushing, so if they wanted to, actually, they could rotate top lane, get that inner turret, and then what would happen is that this wave would slow push up in about the next minute and allow them to just kind of walk down there and get it fairly easily. And one issue with going for this bottom lane as they are now is that it does pose the risk of the fact that blue team could have just ran up and rushed Baron, because if say they had gone to do Baron the instant Katarina came down here, they wouldn't have really been able to answer. But here comes Chef Alama with the Ragnarok and Ghost. He doesn't have Righteous Glory though, so can't quite catch up, and the Lantern being very useful, but he's not giving up. One of these undertows is surely going to land. Sadly not. Olaf will have to kind of just wander back over and accept his failure in initiating. But that does scare off red team from that siege. Buys them a little bit of time for that inhibitor to come back up. And Death Sentence does miss, but here comes Shoot. Boy, he might want to land Death Sentence of his own. I don't know. They do have 4 dragons, actually, so that is huge. They have that extra 5% movement speed on top of everything else. You can see with the mobility boots, that makes Shoot Boy a speedy warden. And here's Neon Tiger. If he had walked up and flayed Neon Tiger, they might have been able to get a pick, but Neon gonna be burrowing to safety. You can hear his little clicks over there of the Rek'Sai tunneling. Getting a little bit close for his underground missiles. But it looks like Shoot Boy's not really punishing it, so he's just going to keep doing it. And with the AP Ezreal, if Ezreal throws out his True Shot Barrage or something else, actually the fight's going in. Neon actually dies instantly. Here goes the blue team's Thresh. Equalizer hit a lot of the people. Now Katarina's plowing through the entire team. Double kill from that Death Lotus and follow-up. Red team just instantly explodes. And really what you want there, well, the reason why that went so poorly is because they got the Rumble ult and the Katarina ult down, instantly just shredding through everything that they had. Olaf really wants to be able to flank from the side instead of charging through the middle through all that damage, because Ragnarok does not help you against pure damage. And you can see that he died instantly with Neon Tiger. And that was the game. Nevertheless, very well played by Chef Alama. He was pretty much the only thing his entire team had going for him. Rek'Sai didn't really do anything all game. I don't think I saw Rek'Sai use her ultimate once, which is fairly disappointing, to be honest. A lot of times you want to use that just to get back and farm, but if a player is newer to Rek'Sai, a lot of times what you'll see is that they're a little afraid of using the ultimate because there's the stigma of, oh my gosh, it's my ultimate. I don't want to just use it to go back to farming, but that's really, in most cases, the best use for that Rek'Sai. So, yeah, also the bot lane got pretty punished by Katarina. So, if we look at damage dealt, who was the true... Oh my gosh! Olaf doing pretty much his entire team's damage. Well played by him, but sadly not well enough for the win. Or rather, I don't know if you could really ask much more of Olaf. Maybe slightly better flank engages, but even then, running at Lucian is probably not the best idea. But he really played his lane very well, able to snowball that into the enemy jungle pretty effectively. Just wasn't quite able to transition it into later game team fights. And it's also very difficult to transition if your backline dies instantly to Romo and Katarina. So, anyways, that is the next SoloQ game. There's a bit of sloppiness on all sides, but it's just a normal game, so hope anyone that's watching this had fun. I think I had 2 viewers at one point, so wow. Anyways, it was pretty fun to cast. I've had more fun games, not a lot of action in the early areas, especially for a random normal or solo queue. But anyways, I'll see you guys.